It was weird because the thing wasn't showing up. Anyway, welcome back, everyone. And today we are reacting to a measured response to game theory God David saga. This is going to be an hour and 28 minutes, so I'm not going to really talk that much at the beginning or the end because this video is going to be over an hour long. So everyone get ready to buckle up because this is gonna be a long one. I don't know why I said it like that. This is just gonna be a long video, so be ready for that. And yeah. So I hope you all enjoy this reaction video. Like, comment, subscribe if you do. Hit the like button to support the channel, support the content provided, and so on and so forth. And be sure to subscribe and hit the notification button to be notified immediately when the video comes out and to support the channel. If there's any other videos you'd like to recommend that I should react to, put it down in the comment section below and I'll react to it as soon as possible. The link to this video is going to be down in the description below, so be sure to give T-Dreads some love and support for the video that they made. And like I said, I was keeping my promise about it. So we definitely are reacting to the God David theory and all that. So yeah. So again, hope you all enjoy, and let's get right on to this video because this is going to be a very long one. So here we go.
Multiple covers of Andrew's the Vengeful Spirit, and I'm here to make another one. So, behold, peek.
Huh. Okay. So I'm thinking it's not. Okay, I'm gonna have to skip ahead because it appears it's Okay. No. Is that it? Maybe. Okay. Yeah. There we go. There we go.
Oh my god, your little emoji guy is so huge. Here, I'm gonna align you perfectly so you're sitting on the border of my... There we go. Alright, why don't you say hello, just make sure it works.
Hello.
Alright,
Hello.
you're coming in. Okay.
No, I just realized that there's so many new stuff right here.
There we
That's
go.
surprising to see.
Alright. Thank you, Alexa. Alright, so chat. You might be wondering, hey, didn't he do this 10 hours ago? The answer is yes. But we were all really excited, so we were kind of talking over the video the whole time. So the reason I'm watching it again isn't only for infinite money from ad revenue. It's also so we can actually listen to Tom and respond. And so I have brought the God David CEO, Hasbro Entertainment. Him and I worked alongside each other constructing the original brain-rotted theory. And he had some great points in his video. Mostly points that I didn't include in my video because I didn't want to edit them because I was tired. So
yeah, my video is just basically like an addendum to your video.
It's DLC.
Yeah,
his video is DLC. So
that's
I'm officially content farming. So this is a late night stream. This is gonna be a chill vibe. There's not gonna be a lot of yelling and screaming and like me going like ah. So. Have I listened to Leon Riskin's teaser songs? I have. The elevator one is older. It's an older song of his. The Abyss one is just Princess Quest, which is crazy. I can't believe they're still... Because that means there's going to be a Princess Quest 5. Which is like, holy. You're dragging. Okay.
That'd be interesting.
All right. Let us observe this new Thomas theory.
Was I wrong about FNAF's Secret of the Mimic? I spent months going over tiny details, analyzing everything frame by frame, trying to solve this fascinating game. But I wasn't alone. There were two other theorists who brought their own solutions to problems I raised. So, are they right? Was I wrong? Let's find out.
Oh, I get it now. So we are doing a reaction to a reaction. That is that is weird. That is like, I don't know. If we looked at this from a certain perspective, this would be really meta. Not gonna lie.
Hello, Internet! Welcome to Game Theory, the show that knows
Who said T. Diddy? What is this?
Bro.
who's solving the FNAF lore is a team sport. It's been a couple of months now since we finished our Secret of the Mimic extravaganza, where we left off on a, let's call it, divisive branching path. I did my best to present a couple of options as to why we were seeing so many similarities between the characters of David Murray, David Afton, and Gregory, from their looks to their families, even the beats of their own stories. One option was that the M2 Mimic takes on the role of David Murray. Afton adopts him as his son, becoming David Afton, and then when he breaks M1, the AI that assumed the identity of David's mother Fiona decides to put him back together, creating Gregbot. Or there was the option that the first 7 games in the franchise weren't just in-universe games, but completely fictional, taking elements of David Murray's story and transforming it into a narrative about the Fazbear founder and his family in order to remove the Murrays from the picture. Like I said, 2 very different paths, and not everyone likes them. Heck, I even pointed out their flaws in those videos, but I wanted to show them as options of how we could.
I don't even want to comment on games fiction.
Yeah, that's,
I mean, so like technically,
it's a
games
confusing
fiction is canon in a way. Like,
well,
games
he's
do exist
proposing
in universe.
games only fiction.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which is to me is like
I mean, didn't Scott himself should have said that wasn't true?
I
Like, he
believe
was like,
so. Yes, I think
Yeah,
so.
it's like the games did happen.
Thanks, BV Studios. Yeah, you guys should all like the stream too, just like him/them/ whatever they are. All right, let's keep going.
To interpret the evidence. And since then, I've actually received a lot of comments asking me one very specific thing. Why wasn't I mentioning other people's theories?
So I actually know this is a real comment. By the way, it says God David. It's not by Freddie Yowie, but one of the top comments on their last video was, "Why didn't you talk about God David theory?" But it wasn't like this. This is a fake comment they made based off a real comment, I think.
Especially when 2 of them were trying to answer the same question. Fate Fiona by Gibby's Horror Homestead and God David by T-Dreads. And the honest answer is, I hadn't watched them. I know that might be hard to believe. Us FNAF theorists usually want to take in as much FNAF content as possible. But as the amount of theorists has grown over the years, so has the rise in comments accusing theorists of stealing ideas from other people. So to make sure I wasn't in any way influenced by their theories, even subconsciously, I purposely avoided watching any other FNAF theories while I was working on my own. It's a shame, really, because at the end of the day, solving FNAF has always been about collaboration. It's why Matt did his live talk back after FNAF 4, and it's why we still do them today. We need to work together if we have any hope of getting through it. So, now that I've been out of my Secret of the Mimic hole for a few months, I figured it was high time I checked them both out to see whether they were able to.
Someone said, "Were there any electric alarm clocks in the hospital?" No, I didn't see a single one. I'm telling you the truth. You want to know the worst part, Fazbear? Is because while I was sitting there, like, absolutely, like, chopped out of my mind, in, like, pain, I was like, I wonder if there's alarm clocks in. I was theorizing mid, like, death.
fill in any of the gaps that I couldn't, or whether there's some combination of our ideas that could maybe make this story finally make sense. I hope you're ready, theorists, because it's time for another round of my trash takes.
Leave your theories in the comments or subreddit. I'll pick my favorite in the next episode of Trash.
Let's start with Gibby. As the name implies, Fate Fiona focuses on the character of Fiona Murray, David's mother. He posits that Fiona, after becoming the M1 mimic and put into the Mex's machine, becomes this overpowering force that manipulates the world around her into repeating history. Not just
I guess that would make sense, because I get it is so I think under his logic, it's pushing a message into the field to mimic the events of the past, because that's what it is the mimic program. So he thinks that the events of the entire series are M1, the mimic program, interacting with the 0 point field and causing everything to kind of loop thematically, which I definitely understand. I think is also just partially true. I think particularly in the Pizzaplex, that's true.
I think you can have both aspects. Like, I think you can have
I don't think you need to pick God, David,
a lot of the
or
connections. Yeah, like both can work in conjunction with each other.
Yeah.
Like theoretically, Fiona influencing William to make David Afton into David Murray is a form of God David, but just through Fate Fiona, right? Like,
yeah. Jesus asks, "Did Andrew visit you in the hospital?"
You see any alligator masks?
Did I see any flying around my bed? No. Luckily, I did not.
her history either, but Fazbear's history as a whole, like the fires, the bad fathers, the houses being on top of the secret facility, and loads more. This immediately caught my attention as it explores a similar line of thinking to what I was exploring in my Games Are Fiction branch, but it manages to keep it all in.
Yeah, that's true. It's an alternate explanation to the reason things repeat themselves.
Universe rather than it being a fictional story borrowing ideas from reality. Gibby suggests that Fiona is able to achieve this world manipulation through three main factors. Firstly, the idea that Fazbear keeps building on top of previous.
Hey, thank you, B-dubs. Maybe to include the spectrogram.
Thoughts on Abyss and the Leon teasers, the secrets in the new ambient video including the spectrogram, and general predictions for the next project. Also, I'm working in 10 minutes THX for streaming.
Yeah, so I think the in the Abyss thing, I think is either going to be the sequel to Security Breach or an actual full like Princess Quest kind of game, which would be crazy.
I thought it was going to be just like a full Princess Quest thing until the teaser about the elevator where you know it was like elevators suck, take the stairs.
Yeah.
And in that, some of the hashtags spelled out Betty Lou Oliver, who was a woman who survived the longest elevator
So it's
fall.
a Cassie reference.
Yeah. So I think
it's a Ruin too.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's the follow-up to Ruin, what happens with Cassie after the elevator falls, which I think also just straight up says that's the canon ending, right? Like,
yeah.
Talking about the elevator falling is saying that's the canon ending.
This is all done on Twitter, by the way, on the so the game.
No wonder I haven't heard of that kind of theory. I knew the Cassie in the elevator crashing was probably the canon theory. Well, everything else was like a good, bad, and neutral ending and all that. But yeah. Makes sense, I guess.
Game composer. They got the guy Scott hires to make all the music for the games now. He's the one to tweet these out.
Establishments, meaning all the remnant and agony of its victims are still present in the area and essentially haunting the building. This explains why in games like FNAF 1 we see the posters on the wall change, or why in Security Breach there are random plushies hidden around the place. It's the classic burial ground trope.
This the purple guy's son. In particular, for random plushes of baby popping up in rooms, I don't know why Fiona would have a basis to create that.
Well, I mean, if Fiona was connected to the Swiss location bunker,
Yeah, I guess.
It's weird because like the plush babies are obviously sister location focused,
Yeah.
but they don't show up until Help Wanted.
The FNAF 1 poster
that's-
has certainly got to be Golden Freddy, though. Of the crying
Yeah,
child,
yeah,
that's not Fiona.
Well, actually, the week before says it's Freddy, like Gabriel doing it.
No, the ones with the crying children.
Yeah, it says that posters
Huh.
on the wall started changing, and he's like, "I know this is Freddy doing this."
Oh, that's pretty fucking weird. Then that's crazy.
Buildings are haunted because they are built upon the dead. But when you think about it, thanks to Secret of the Mimic and Ruin, who specifically is dead and underneath all of these buildings? Right in the basement of MCM, waiting to put her son back together. Fiona. Secondly, he looks at the story of Fetch from Fazbear Frights, and the concept of how human thoughts, if strong enough, can actually affect subatomic particles in order to manipulate the world around them and other people's thoughts. This is a real-world concept called the 0-point field. Gibby explains that down there in the basement, Fiona's thoughts are so strong, her desire to rebuild her family so powerful, that she is able to utilize the 0-point field and affect the thoughts of those in the area. Namely...
So I think that is actually a misquote from Gibby's video. I don't think Gibby thinks it's intentional because she powers down at the end of the game. I think Gibby thinks that it's just like... It just happens subconsciously for at least a while.
William
I mean,
After,
so I know
subconsciously
Gibby
planting
thinks
the
sister
negate-
location before FNAF 2.
Yeah.
So it would have to be like she would have to be activated before 1987 because Afton turns the bunker. You know,
That's true. Yeah, yeah. He would definitely find it by. Well, no, he'd probably find it by. See, it depends.
I think he would
if you
find
think
it.
Anything's under. It depends when you think the sister location bunker is constructed, because I think he begins constructing it probably around the time the crying child dies.
I think he makes it in 79 because I mean that's
Yeah,
part
so
of my
that's
whole Fred
early.
Barn
Yeah,
theory.
so you'd think he'd
is
find
that-
her very early. Oh wait, I forgot we agree. I forgot we agree on all this stuff. Okay.
Because I think Fredbear's gets built on top of MCM.
Yeah.
And so, I think Afton Robotics is the company that is made to take over what MCM was, Murray-Co. And Afton Robotics creates, the robotics for Fazbear and stuff like that, essentially just fills in that role. So I think Afton Robotics in the bunker was made when Afton took the land and got the house. And then, that was all before 83 because Fredbear's is connected to the bunker in the power map.
Yeah. Oh, that's so curious. I wonder why. See, I don't really like this one narratively because it kind of turns William into like just Fiona's little bitch. It's like people complained about how like God victim, and we were talking about how like he influences stuff. So it's very similar to that. Whereas that had more had limits onto it, kind of, where I don't think it necessarily had influence like everything, like what Afton did and stuff. But I feel like turning the entire like series into every single character is just Fiona's like bitch, basically. Narratively, it's not great.
I mean, I think this is essentially just the like Fate Fiona is just God victim.
Yeah, but for Fiona
instead.
Yeah, yes, it is.
And I think it's done through a more like backed way that we see like in Frights.
Yeah, the
like,
field, yeah.
Yeah. But I think it still suffers the same narrative issues that God David would have suffered, like you're talking about, like like everybody's
loss
just
of
a puppet.
David in his head so that he calls his own child David, as well as subconsciously giving him the idea to stuff kids into suits, like the Mimic used to do back in the 1970s. And finally, there's the physical wires. Fiona is plugged into everything Fazbear touches, much like the storyteller was in the Tales from the Pizzaplex books, an AI designed to connect to everything, but ends up infecting it with bad ideas and code. Similarly, Fiona gets plugged into Fazbear and so witnesses everything that happens throughout Fazbear's history due to the agony and remnant they leave behind, causing the technology to also repeat parts of history, like Fredbear killing David when the opportunity presents itself because her son David also died on the premises, or Glamrock Bonnie being locked away in a back room, destroyed, being watched by possessed wet floorboards.
And so this makes sense to me because everywhere else in the Pizzaplex, you also have recreation slop, basically, because you have the what was I going to say? You have the Help Wanted rooms with the Fiona Wires of Doom. So the Pizzaplex to begin with is already kind of has a bunch of these mismatches of weird, like, old stuff from the series. And Help Wanted is a game that's just a bunch of random stuff. You can see that in Pizza Party and in the hard mode of Ennard, Vent Repair in Help Wanted.
Mm-hmm.
Those are both mini games where it's just all the imagery from the. It's like if you asked. It's literally like if you asked Gemini's AI, like, give me an image of Five Nights at Freddy's Pizzeria. It would just throw a bunch of shit in there. In which case, I'm impressed how accurate Scott got that, because that didn't exist when he made it. You know, he wouldn't have known what it. Scott developed ChatGPT, guys. Theory confirmed.
Yeah.
But
I highly doubt
Yeah,
that.
I mean, Glitch Trap was 6 years ago.
yeah.
That's like way before like Help Wanted is.
So this I can see. I can see that the entire Pizzaplex as a cost cutting measure basically runs on this AI system, and as a byproduct of that, stuff like this leaks in, right? So I entirely agree with the like Fate Fiona premise as far as who's in control of the Pizzaplex. All three of us agree on that. Tom and I agree on the Fiona Wires of Doom. I have a very hot take of the Fiona Wires of Doom that I'm going to make in a video coming up, and I'm going to get canceled on Twitter harder for this than any other theory I've made. So,
Rose gonna breach Charlie 87.
yeah, you might actually, you might agree with me or think I'm insane.
I probably will agree with you.
No, you won't. I'm just gonna mute and tell you.
Okay.
Okay, because I'm turning into a video. This is gonna be. You're gonna hate this so much.
Yeah, hit me. Yeah.
Oh, damn.
I can see that. I don't think Nexus is F10 and 4, so like it's got to be somewhere.
It's terrible that I can't
Yeah.
I can't read lips. Because that would have been really helpful right now.
Yeah.
Because it sounds like a pretty interesting theory. Just by how the details seems to be going on.
Mm.
What the... Why does he have a dancing plush Freddy?
Yeah. People are saying I'm not muted right now.
Interesting.
Wait, let me.
Wait a second. Okay, wait, no, but you didn't even say what I was saying. So it's good. The word, you know, the B word. You didn't say it. I don't think.
No. I did not say
The B word.
I said one thing, but it's not.
Okay.
This the purple
You
guy.
can't devise what you were saying from what I was saying.
Okay.
You really couldn't.
All right.
Anything...
But at least
anything,
it wasn't that mid. Okay, let's keep going.
Much like Springtrap was locked away in a back room after dying, being watched
It was
by
just
5
about
spirits.
mixes,
Fiona
and
is the
that's it.
central hub for everything. With her memories and will being so strong, she's forcing history to repeat itself over and over again. Now, when I first watched this video, I thought it was super out there. But the more I thought about it, the more I realized it tied into a number of theories we'd already had on this channel. We did a theory ages ago about why we thought there was so much puppet imagery across the Pizzaplex, specifically in the wires connecting everything. At the time, we felt the best option was leaning into the only character we knew that had an association.
Yeah, and this was the best you could do at the time.
Yeah.
with the puppet, Charlie. We even equated it to the idea that she was
The evil
haunting
Charlie
the building
virus.
like an old-school ancient burial ground, rather than being tied to a specific animatronic like we'd usually see. We had the same idea, it's just we didn't know Fiona was a character in order to tie her to all the puppet imagery instead of Charlie. Admittedly, it may still seem a little strange. Why would Fiona be associated with the puppets? Well, I think we can come up with a good explanation for it. Let's just remove the mask and... Matt, what are you doing here? Oh, wait, it's because Creators in Fashion is coming back for a second year, right? And you're gonna be the MC.
I can't believe we dubbed Matt Pat in post. Tom, how could you?
That's not all. We've got Linus Tech Tips, the Try Guys, and loads more creators all there to show the world that just because we're creators
I will not skip
doesn't
the
mean
ad.
we
I am
just
a man
create
of peace.
quote,
I'm a man of
merch.
honor.
I may even have a special surprise cooking up with the stipendium. So to find out what that is, plus see a bunch of fun stuff from all of these creators, check out our sister location Style Theory on October 9th at 8 p.m. Eastern. Thanks for reminding me, Matt. Now let's just put this back on so that I can tell you all why the puppet makes sense. In another one of our mimic theories, I suggested that M1 Fiona's memories are becoming muddied thanks to the amount of data she's received from the original games while being used to make Help Wanted. But while I focus
I
solely...
also agree, yeah, that branch of the Mimic AI is being used to make Help Wanted.
Yeah, I agree. I also agree that it was probably M1.
How ironic, considering they used stolen art in the promotion, just like real AI.
she'd have learnt from Afton in order to make her glitch trap, there are other characters in those games she'd have learnt about and possibly even adopted as part of this new messy persona. Characters like Charlie. I specifically called out that she seems to be adopting traits from characters that she identifies with. Afton is a man that wants to put his family back
This connection, I feel, is a little looser.
together no matter the cost, for example. But Fiona and the puppet share a couple of close connections too. They're both protectors of children, they both fail at their duty and the child dies on their watch. Fiona is also a puppeteer, so again, she has an association with puppets. And these similarities all add to M1 Fiona being a confused mess. She can't tell what is her and what is someone else. Is it Glitch Trap? Is it Charlie? Is it David? But that could be why we see all these things connecting the Pizzaplex.
Oh, I have a golden ticket. I have a golden twinkle in my eye.
I don't think.
No, I
M1
wasn't
probably
stimming.
more
I was going to
data.
make a point. I wasn't just stimming. You're so used to me to sing random fucking, like, actually just like, no. When I awoke, something, skibbity riz. Am I still me? Yeah, am I still me? It's just interesting to say in the context of as it goes on, if Tom is right about this, it's kind of garnering new personalities and kind of losing the one it has now. I could see you reading the quote that way, is all I'm saying.
Yeah. Do you want me to find the quote and read it?
Yeah. The whole, like, that whole, like, was I still me or was I something different? Something felt different. It could be that as time goes on. Yeah. Go ahead. You can read it.
Yeah. Okay. Here it is. It says memory error detail report. We were expecting there were complications. Consciousness was lost for an undetermined time. Once I awoke, we were all together and happy, a family. But something was different. I felt wrong somehow. Was I me? I would never sleep again. Corrupted file suspected. Please advise.
So yeah, see, I read that more as the whole like being copied to be M2 or whatever the hell it is.
Yeah.
I could see a world where you read that like, was I still me? The ability for that to take place. I could see a world where you read that as like, okay, let's say it does make Help Wanted. If it does make Help Wanted, I'm muting.
Interesting.
All the pieces put together.
No, I wouldn't believe Fiona's possessing glamour upgrade. That would make no sense.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Mm.
All right, chat. I
think
just
I'm not
solved. I just
muted.
solved security breach.
Am I?
No, you're muted.
I don't know if I'm.
No, you weren't
Oh,
muted.
I
Sorry,
am
you were not.
muted?
You were not muted. You were not muted. You were not muted. I'm
Okay,
unmuted
okay,
too
I was
now.
gonna-
Chat. We just
Okay,
solved
for a
security
different
breach.
different video
Holy
for a
dub.
different day, I guess.
I have addendums I could say, but I'll maybe we'll save it till for brainstorming.
Yeah. We can call at some point and go over it.
Giving off puppet
Yeah, they're all like, you don't mute, but you just say like the most cryptic, like 2 lines, like, I see.
The pieces put together.
Yeah.
vibes, even though it's supposed to be Fiona and not Charlie. On the flip side, if you subscribe to Gibby's theory wholesale, it wouldn't just be data, but all the agony and remnant and memories of all the victims who died on this one piece of Fazbear land entering Fiona's system, meaning Charlie's memories are now part of Fiona too. But that also brings up the...
I
Oh.
forgot about. It's been a while since I've seen this theory, so there's a lot of stuff that I forgot. And it's really interesting to really hear them back, hear it again, because I can't fully remember everything. So yeah, this is a good recap in all honesty.
Chad, sorry, I'm cooking a stew.
part of the theory that is possibly one of the biggest debates coming out of Secret of the Mimic. Is there possession, or is it just AI? For this theory to work, it requires you
both.
to be of the belief that the
Look,
M1
the editor literally did it. The editor put the purple and green. The purple and green.
Yeah.
Yeah.
M1 Mimic program didn't just become Fiona through being an AI, but through possession, using the classic old school FNAF tools of things like Remnant and Agony. Two of the reasons I've seen for M1 being possessed are that she learned to be Fiona after Fiona had died, and that Edwin uses the frequency
I got
462.
more I could add to what you were just talking about.
Oh God, we've done it fast. We have a golden ticket.
I'll just message it to you, so it's...
But you know that thumbnail I sent you that I was cooking up, that's why I'm making that thumbnail. I'm planning to do a video on this topic.
Yeah.
5 on one of the audio logs and hears the voice of Fiona after her death. This frequency is actually associated with a ghost radio frequency in the real world, known as the buzzer. As the name implies, it simply broadcasts a static buzz across the airwaves, but occasionally you can hear words, sometimes even voices in the background. But the key thing is, no one claims to be running it, leading some to believe it's ghosts speaking from beyond the grave.
I usually watch some YouTube videos involving ghost-related things. I think I mentioned this before, but if I haven't, I have seen this kind of stuff. Some YouTubers that I would suggest if you're really interested in this is Sam and Kobe. And if not, you can check out Elton, who runs TFIL. So, yeah. Your channel is actually really good, and they know some really cool people that does this investigating stuff. So either one, and you can find more people that does it and check out their stuff. So yeah, I'm just mentioning those two because they're the more frequent YouTubers that I watch when it comes to this stuff about supernatural related stuff.
However, upon looking into it more, it seems that this radio frequency is something more to do with Russian intelligence, with 2 other radio stations, The Pip and The Squeaky Wheel, also transmitting a...
I'm pausing and reading your text.
Interesting.
Right, like all of them together.
He
Oh,
seems really absorbed into it.
Parallels. Huh. I can read this part. The literal embodiment of Eleanor and Afton in the trash. Well, that would have to mean they're both in there, right?
Yeah, because...
I see. You in the events after after that scene. Okay. Which would be... Yeah, that's interesting. Okay,
that's setting up kind of like a dual
Yeah, that would
storyline
be, and
going on.
how we have that constant in the DLC tip specifically. We have that constant like green and purple
Wait,
thing. So
hold on. Should I'm bad at typing.
yeah, you're. Oh yes, that's such a good. Yeah, it might be adding to its. Huh.
See what I mean?
Yeah. Yes. Epilogues. Yeah. Specifically epilogues. So what is? How the hell does Stitch Line relate to? Because I understand the Mimic epilogues. That's simple enough to understand how that relates to the Mimic. But how would Stitch Line relate to Big B?
Because that's the epitome of the epilogues, right? Is the big trash rabbit.
Yes. Okay. So you think that is it? I'm wondering, is there a Stitch Wraith parallel in this era, in this timeline?
Okay, that's a curious thing for him to mention. The
I
Stitch
don't
raid.
think so.
That's
Okay.
interesting.
Because I couldn't see. I couldn't unless it's like.
But technically,
it couldn't
the
be
Stitch Wraith
Gregory and M2.
do-
That'd be ridiculous.
the Stitch Wraith doesn't do anything. It's Larson with the puppet mask. Like the Stitch Wraith does
You mean in
to-
the actual like in the
Yeah.
finale? Yes. Which didn't most people comment that the finale felt like an add-on to the Stitch Wraith story? Like it felt like a different
Yeah.
story entirely. Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
So and then Eleanor would be, yeah, and then so she would be the stand-in for Big F in that case.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's interesting. Yeah, well, I'll have to make a video on this. Well, I mean, I am already, but it was more of a loose concept, but now I actually have to put in the script because I was inspired by Thomas' theory. All
Yeah.
right.
Hmm.
All right. Also, chat. Someone in chat got it right.
Similar signature sound, occasionally
Someone in chat
interrupted
got
by
it right, what we were talking
conventional
about.
voice messages. It's
Every
real
time Big B
messages
is
being
Barry
sent by
B.
real
Benson from the
people,
B movie.
not ghosts. Which means that if Steel Wool is invoking the iconography of frequency 4625,
Dude, it makes so much sense if it's getting overridden from being in the Help Wanted game. That makes so much sense. If it's, I'm just saying, if it is like something taking in so much data,
Yeah.
that it would, that it would choose to, and then everything's connected by the FWD.
Yeah.
Yeah, the FWAD.
Interesting.
That's crazy.
I had to think about
Wait,
for a
that sounded
second.
bad. That's fuckwad. Okay.
That's what we're calling him now.
Yeah. The fuckwad. All right.
telling us while it may appear to be something paranormal, it's actually a real person, or at least thing that's sending the message. John FNAF has a great theory about how it's actually the mycelium men who have recorded Fiona trying to help Edwin, because the AI Edwin made in all of his inventions was designed to
know what you want better than you do.
which also explains how M1 learns to be Fiona. It's not from Fiona
I
herself, but from the
realized something about that recently. I have been on the F10 being possessed train for a while, but in the office right next to the F10 machine is one of the mycelium men sitting on top of a coffee pot set up on a chair right next to her, which is directly the embodiment of those two things, like repeating back phrases and knowing what you want better than you do.
He's feeding him.
And they have no
recordings
reason
of
to
her
be in
through
that
the
office.
He's hey, thank you for the gift of membership, Evelium. Chat, I've seen a couple people now. You need to stop guessing my theory. They got it. How'd they get it? I was being reasonably cryptic.
Helium men, which is why she acts like her, but she feels more stilted.
Look like a worm.
And robotic.
I baked it myself for David's special day.
And no, it's not just because she's a robot, but because she never learnt from the real thing. Plus, as I've mentioned before, Scott does seem to be moving away from the old paranormal stories he used to tell.
This also is not correct. The rest, his coverage has been really good. But no, I'm just saying, like, he says, like, he's moving away from the paranormal, and the exact clip he will play is the one where Scott says, "I like possession." He says it in the clip.
Well, so what I've seen people say is that Scott is saying people being possessed by AI.
Possession. It wouldn't be possession of AI. It would be possession by AI.
Possession by.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. It's possession of AI.
Because if you swap it to ghosts, it'd be possession of ghosts,
which makes no sense. Yeah.
Possession of machines or circuitry. I love that sort of thing.
Since Help Wanted, we've been getting stories about AI taking over people, not Remnant or Agony. In the Tales from the Pizzaplex series, while we still get ghost stories, we don't really get much in the way of Remnant or Agony specifically. There's Frailty, where a girl has a Remnant necklace similar to the one from To Be Beautiful in Fazbear Fright, but it's rarely the focal point of this series. Again, emphasizing the move away from those old...
Do they ever give you a reason why everything's so fucked in Tales? Because I know in Fright it's because of Eleanor and Agony and all that stuff. But what the fuck's going on with, like, Lally? They never explain it. I'm guessing.
No, and Lally is weird too because it's the latest point in the timeline. If Tales was correct, it's like 20 years after the Pizzaplex closes.
FNAF story beats and more into AI and machine sentience. And without the real spirit of Fiona, it means there's no Remnant or Agony, and it becomes harder to explain things like the 0 point field. That's not to say it's impossible by any stretch. There are signs of some paranormal things going on at MCM. I mean, the White Tiger costume feels very much like old school Golden Freddy. That, or it's just...
How curious. Also, they use the most desaturated Golden Freddy. He's more like Rust Freddy over there.
That's like withered Freddy. He's brown.
Just finished a 36-hour shift and I'm struggling to stay awake.
And the 0 point field idea comes from the story Fetch.
Oh, so he's arguing that Tiger Rock might just be a hallucination.
Dude, I hate that.
How's it kill you?
Also, you can't hallucinate things you've never seen. Like, your mind kind of works like AI
that's
way,
true.
Like,
that's
you
true.
can't just make shit up.
Ladies and gentlemen, Fazbear Entertainment gives evidence for the resurrection of Jesus Christ. Okay, let's continue.
The Into the Pit game did tease a Fetch sequel, so maybe they are gonna bring it in. And the fact is, if it turns out to be true, Faye Fiona would help to justify my theory that Old Man Consequences is actually what remains of Edwin Murray. I suggested that because Edwin from the books comes back to help destroy the Mimic years later, that even though it seems like he died at the end of Secret of the Mimic,
Welcome back, Theodore.
in reality, he didn't fully die, because no one ever dies in this series. I suggested that the king in Princess Quest, known as Old Man Consequences in the game files, was like Edwin's digital signature, a safety protocol inside the Mimic's programming designed as a failsafe to stop the monster he'd created. Fate Fiona also ties into this theory.
So that's entirely speculation, I'm pretty sure. Because I don't think there's a base to think that he programmed like a Doofenshmirtz button into it. My self-destruct. I think that's just like speculation as to why that could be.
Theory, just in a more classic FNAF way. Rather than Edwin leaving behind a digital signature, it's literally his agony and spirit that, like everything else, ended up inside Fiona.
Oh, who do I think is the Shadow Man now in Secret of the Mimic? Probably not Edwin, because he doesn't have legs, so I don't think he'd be moving around very efficiently. I'd say either Henry or William, probably, or some agony ghost creature of like someone who died. Agony Ghost of Fiona, Agony Ghost something, yeah. Milton.
Systems, which then plugged into all the arcade cabinets in the Pizzaplex, which then allowed him to appear in games like Princess Quest and even FNAF World. So while I'm not entirely sure about...
Oh, that's so crazy to think that FNAF World might be one of the arcade games there. We just haven't seen it, but it could genuinely be. Because Mangle's Quest is a game.
They talk about FNAF World as a game.
I mean, with how
Jesus, oh my god.
Method this theory is based on, I do have to say, it helps explain a lot of our past theories, as well as a dozen other theories from across...
Loop theory. I don't know if that's...
I don't know
if that's
what other loop
FNAFology.
theory that would be if not FNAFology.
Well, the picture is Scott with his hands in it.
Yeah, but none of those are like
Yeah, that's true. Except for Remnant Plex,
from
maybe.
the actual
Arcade
video,
Theory's there
you know?
too.
Yeah, Arcade Theory's just canon now, which is crazy.
He might be talking about Sodom Loop.
Dude, there's no way he's talking about Sodom Loop, bro.
Across the internet. I also understand that it would be nice to have things like Remnant and Agony still feel like they're important today and not just a forgotten
Well, I
story.
mean, they are. His entire thing is run on it. It's like the Willy Wonka chocolate factory, except the whole thing's powered by molten, possibly the remnant metal.
Device. But at the very least,
Dude, I don't get
Gibby
people
and I
saying
can
Remnant
agree.
has to be actual soul. Like, the novel trilogy has essentially soul creation through emotions with the metal, right?
Yeah.
Somebody doesn't have to actually die in order for the thing to become possessed in that way, and then when you melt that metal
one way or
down,
another, Fiona is definitely the one running the show here. But that's just
You can have
one
the
of the
remnant
branching
there.
paths. And if you're enjoying this kind of branching path theory review thing that we're doing here, you should absolutely consider subscribing. Maybe you can hit the button before Fiona sets the mimic on you. Probably got about 5, 4, 3,
All right, it's my
2,
time.
1. Nice work. Huh, it didn't?
Every
shut her
day
down.
that I have, praise the
Anyway, the
Lord.
second and probably
Let's
most
go.
requested theory for me to look at is called God David by
God,
T-Dreads.
David, I gotta do the thing. God, David.
The reason this one came as so requested is because it actually has a lot of similarities to the other branching paths
The reason it came as so requested is because my fans are feral, Tom.
I presented. The reason David Murray, David Afton, and Gregory have so many similarities can't be coincidence. They must be the same person. However, rather than it being a bunch of robot kids, T-Dreads takes a slightly different approach. He focuses a lot on Gregory, pointing out a lot of the same similarities I did. Similar appearance, both being called Broken, sitting on a hill with their robotic
Yep.
protector. But the one
True.
extra piece he points out is the therapy CDs from Security Breach.
Did we point out anything else? We
I
both
pointed out so much.
spend a very long time on the therapy CDs.
Yeah.
Oh, you have the balloons on the heart monitor in Dolly's section as well.
I think I still have the doc.
Oh yeah, the help
Different
wanted. Yeah,
evidence
the help
points.
wanted grave as well with the bird on it
Yeah.
and sun guarding it. Yeah, so we have a lot of stuff. But I think yeah, the primary point was the tapes.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, we can keep going.
These recordings are from therapy sessions with 2 different patients. One is Vanessa, with her being named in the tapes, and one is a mysterious unnamed patient, who we all came to call Patient 46. We theorized early on in the life of Security Breach that Patient 46 was in fact Gregory. This was later seemingly confirmed thanks to the story GGY, where we see a kid called Greg killing off these counselors when they got too close to the truth. The truth that Gregory wasn't really himself
Oh
anymore.
yeah, Curse of Dreadbear setting the brain to a new frequency. The security owl in FNAF world. Those are also little things.
I got the whole
But being
doc
controlled
pulled
by
up right here of all
someone
the
else.
things.
T-Dreads points out that multiple
5 days before the
therapists
party
call him
for
out for
David's
making up
birthday.
stories.
5 days before the party for Cece's.
For Cece's birthday. Yep. Thanks, Bronze Films.
Stories that he's lying about his past, almost like an AI reading.
So after I made this theory, I actually was so surprised that like Gregbot was running for so long, because you do have. Oh, thanks, Bronze Films. Yep. You do have a specific, like, look at that. You have a specific thing that's like, hey, this isn't in line with your record, right? Which, interestingly, and I thought I might note this out, Vanessa, right, when talking about Gregory, Vanessa goes, there's no record of him. But I think that's at the Pizzaplex database. I think the therapist says, essentially, in her tapes, that she
it's
basically
not
broke,
at the
she
Pizzaplex.
basically broke protocol to look into his past unprompted. Right, some therapists like
I don't know if
me
it's
think
breaking
it's better
protocol.
to.
She just
Well,
yeah,
it's
she just said that
unorthodox. It's unorthodox.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she makes note of like other therapists don't typically do this.
He gifted himself a membership. That's so funny.
Oh my god. You just realized that.
From a script.
You
The
probably
way you
did.
told the story is more
Thanks,
like
Civilian.
you were reading something from a book.
But rather than it being because Gregory is a robot, it's because he's possessed by a version of M2's programming, a version of David Murray. He points specifically to the Balloon World arcade cabinet in Gregory's hidey hole, the one which, as you play, begins to glitch out and become corrupted, ending with the words "good night," as if Gregory is going to sleep and allowing M2 to take control. That's why when the therapists say lines like,
"You had great parents,"
it's because Gregory is telling the story of David's parents, not his own.
And this he actually agrees with, so I'm very happy about that. This particular point, he fully agrees with.
Wasn't in the running for Father of the Year, and both Edwin and Fiona met tragic ends. But that wasn't true for Gregory's parents. I gotta say, I'm a fan of this. Even in my video where I brought up Gregory being a robot kid, I said I wasn't in love with the idea of having more robot kids around. It meant that we had M1, M2, now what, M3? It's just a lot of robot kids and not enough real people. And this use of the therapy CDs actually helps move away from that.
I think that every instance of the Mimic that they want to have a different personality would be like an M3, M4, M5, M6, M7. Because I think if they're specifically taking and copying the programming to make, say, Glamrock Freddy and Glamrock Chica two different personality branches, that would be an M3 and an M4, for example. Because that's how M2 was made. It's a copy. Right?
Okay.
So Glamrock Freddy would start as a copy of the previous Mimic, and it would go on to be called M3. And maybe they copied Glamrock Chica from Glamrock Freddy.
Well,
and now
M3 would be Circus Baby.
Okay, yeah. Sad part is you're probably right. But
M70.
M70. Yeah, so I think I get why he doesn't like it, but I'm pretty confident that we're veering into oops all Mimic territory. There's
even the possibility of Mimic influence in like the classics and the toys and shit like that. Like,
so there's 10 plus Mimic branches, more I'd say way more. Probably there's a lot of stuff in the Pizzaplex, probably in like the dozens, the 50s maybe, 55.
I mean, all the staff bots.
All this. Well, they might be able to run the same program because they're not. I think anything with a different personality. So the DJ, probably.
Yeah, I guess the staff bots and the Glamrocks have very different like the Glamrocks feel alive, like they have emotions and stuff like that. The staff bots are very like, this is my work, I do work now.
Yeah, so you get okay. So you have Burn Trap, then you have the additional, then you have the 4 animatronics, 5, sorry, because Glamrock Bonnie. Yeah, so I think there's quite a few because with how complex the personalities are. Yeah, with how complex the personalities are in those, they probably would need different Mimic branches. Because if they program them all as one branch, you would get I'm muting, of personalities. That would be way too many. You know what I mean? You know what I'm getting at, though, right? So I think all of those are different instances, is what they call it in programming language, if I'm correct. Different instances of the same code.
Well, I guess I don't know, to go slightly against that, when Glamrock Freddy's in the daycare, he's like, is this what I look like under the shell? Am I just a Monty with a Freddy casing? So like, you know what I mean? Like he's kind of implying it.
Is it the casing that makes him? This is a philosophical question. Is it my is it my body that makes me who I am? They're full of zestiness. So true. Full of zest and jest and fit and fraught.
Feel more alive, but full of zest and all that, but not real.
Truth nuke, because they are robots.
A robot kid made inside the Pizzaplex by M1 Fiona and Vanessa wouldn't have physical records or files for the therapists to refer to. They wouldn't be able to say lines like, "You had great parents," because he'd be an anomaly with no past. He literally just showed up one day. But if instead he's a real kid with his mind taken over, then he would have real records that might even explain why he ended up in therapy, because his teachers noticed he suddenly started acting differently. From there, he starts acting like and dressing like a slightly older version of David Murray, just like M1 wanted, only for him to be set free sometime before security breach. The only thing I would question about this idea is the specifics of exactly what is possessing Gregory. T-Dreads presents it as a version of the Mimic program that contains David's memories, which would seem to imply M2. He uses Balloon World's glitched sun as evidence for this. The character looks a lot
I want us to keep in mind here, he doesn't bring this up. M2 is not a good program. It is heavily influenced by kind of agony and this aggressive kind of stuff. So
Yeah, not wrong.
the fact that the fact that Gregory isn't like rolling around on the floor with his thumb in his mouth is to be expected, because at this point M2 would not be optimal, I guess. But his point here is good.
Eclipse, which is a character
I'll let him finish.
Represents the collaboration between Fiona, Sun, and Edwin's moon. And so that shows us that David, or M2, is taking over Gregory's mind. But just like in my previous theories, there are a few ways you could interpret this, and mine would be slightly different in this case. So far, there's been one AI that clearly has the ability to take over people's minds. Glitch Trap. We saw it with Jeremy, who sadly sliced his face off, and with Vanessa, who mentions that in the therapy tapes there's part of her that is locked.
Yeah, the face-off thing. It's in a brightly lit room. I think she would have noticed.
Yeah. The Halloween mask is in a brightly lit room.
Yeah.
So.
Previous theories, we've connected Glitch Trap back to the M1 Fiona program, who, after being used to make games like Hell Wanted,
I don't see why it would adopt that new persona particularly
what
instead
you were
of
just talking about.
Yes, I understand that, but I mean, like, that's a new suit. That's not in any of the games. That's a new suit. So it's where'd that come from?
Yeah, from the Fredbear that gets built on top of MCM property.
Yeah, but that's not in anything she's trained on. I don't think. Not that we know of yet. She's
hooked up to. I mean, I also don't think this is purely M1. I think it's glitch both. But
okay. No, I could see. No, I think the mimic is certainly involved. Glitch both. Interesting. Yeah. So in that case, do you think under our God David thing, it could be? Do you think like he's basically glitch both also, but with M2 instead of M1? I think that might be a good idea.
What I think is going on is that like what we talked about at the end of the thing, where it's like the clash of domains between Afton and Fiona.
Yes.
And that's happening with the M1 program
itself.
And I think that's
But then why is Burn Trap delegated to his own body?
Just the purple guy.
Because that's just William.
Oh, that's chopped. I don't know about that one. Why is he using a charging pod if he's just a dude?
Because it's Remnant charging pod, and he's using Glamrock endo parts in them.
Yeah. I guess that would explain why it doesn't kill Gregory to stand in there. He can just go in with Freddy when it's charging, and he doesn't.
Also, if it's
die.
M2, Mexis does not try to stop Burn Trap at all.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Yes, M2.
And I doubt Mexis was just recently turned on after the events of Security Breach.
Okay. I could see Tom being on the right track here. M1. See, my problem with the exact same agent being used to possess both Vanessa and Gregory is that the mechanism's completely different. You know from the beginning, they know that the thing trying to get into Vanessa's head is malicious, right?
True.
Yes. Okay. So we know from the beginning. They say like there's someone trying to like manipulate you. You've had these really disturbing emails. That's from the start of the Vanessa tapes. Yeah. In the pre-possession Gregory tapes, Gregory's already intelligent enough to develop a software program, right? That can talk back to him as himself and like repeat phrases and mimic him or whatever, right? But eventually over time, the thing he's talking to starts giving answers back that are still in the realm where you could become convinced that that's him responding. So it's very clearly like he's talking to something that could easily be mistaken for him, right? And I think that is a lot more indicative of it's him talking to some version of M2 or something pretending to be David, because you could a lot more easily
and I think that's how M2 knows Gregory's voice by the time of Ruin.
Yeah, and I'm just saying I think you could convince someone a lot more easily that he's talking to himself if he's talking to a kid also, instead of like the
But that's
serial
why
killer.
I think at the time where he's talking to himself, he already has the David aspects, which is why I think that's the M2 portion. And then suddenly, at some point, it swaps and he's no longer talking to himself. There's a different voice talking to him, and the glitches start appearing at the same time as that. Which is why I think M2, the David aspect of possessing Gregory, is different from Glitchtrap, which is the one that's in Vanny. And then, like, Gregory does eventually get glitch trapped, but that's not how he starts. Because the therapy tapes make a note that there is a point where suddenly, you know, the virus is stemming from him, and, you know, it's in everything now, and, like, he's acting different, and there's a different voice talking to him now.
I think you... Yeah, Glitch Trap being M1 is so odd. I prefer to just call it M3 for the sake of convenience, because its motives would be completely different from M1, because it would be kind of just mismatch or whatever. Because Afton seems to be the one in control there, in Glitch Trap at least. Like,
because Afton has a spirit in the AI, and F10 does not.
Yeah, but at that point, would Fiona even be, like, conscious? I feel like it would be almost irrelevant.
Yeah, because that's how he came back, is through the program, and why he's able to do mimic stuff now. Like, he's using the mimic to get, like, a new power set, essentially.
I'd still call that, like, an M3. I don't think I'd call that M1.
I mean, I'd just say glitch both M1.
Yeah.
That's how I see it.
And so he wants to be part of Gregory to...
Yeah, and then when he gets Gregory, he starts killing people.
Uh-huh.
But before that point, he was just, like, normal in school. But
so why
was, like,
does it have the David aspects, then? Because that's definitely a thing.
Why does Glitchtrap have the David aspects?
No, why does Gregory have the David aspects? If he's just possessed by...
That's from before Glitchtrap got into him. That's when M2 was in him.
So you think he's just getting his head full of mimics?
Yeah. That's the clash of domains over Gregory.
That sounds complicated.
Although I guess
Like, no
not
joke,
really, because that's
really
M2 versus M1 glitch both type thing. But I think that's the...
Ha ha. Oh. I can tell you the exact moment that happened.
Really?
What is that?
The glitch stopped being a glitch and then turned into a set of subroutines that spread throughout the entire mall.
Oh.
Yeah.
So at that point, and remember, the source of the glitch shifted. You know what I think the source of the glitch was originally? Big F.
Mm-hmm.
And then it shifted to Big W. Right? Because the source of the glitch, the thing he's talking to that mimics back phrases to him, could either be M1 or M2. And then at the point where William gets his goop on it. Okay, I could see... that's so convoluted, but I could see a world where that works. So it would be... He would have both Fiona and Afton inside of him, basically fighting for what he is.
Yeah, until he gets purged.
Okay. Yep, that makes sense. Yep, I think that works. So that combines me and Tom's theory, because Tom's about to say it's just Glitch Trap in him, but we think it's both F10N4 and Glitch Trap in him.
Yeah.
Or wait, Tom might say that. Hold on, I might be an actual idiot. I think that's exactly what he says.
And confused as to what her true identity was. M1 Fiona is also represented by Sun, as we see in both the parachute ending of Secret of the Mimic and during Moon.exe. So when we see the sun glitched out in Balloon World, it's possible it's not showing us Eclipse, but simply a glitched out sun. It's sun that itself has been corrupted by the memory and influence
I'm pretty sure
of
in the
Afton,
game
becoming
files,
a
it's called
glitched
Eclipse.
trap for Gregory. So if we have
It's called, if it's, all right, I don't know if it is called Eclipse in the files, but if it is, that's certainly, then that's just that's a David M2-ism. Oh, wait, sorry, no, I'm wrong. Fuck. Here's the thing, I can't tell if it would be M1 mixed with, no, Yes, no, it can't be. Because if it's M1, right, mixed with Glitchtrap, it would have no reason to make itself act like David Murray. That's not what M1's motive is. M1 wants a David externally to have as like a kid or whatever.
Yeah.
I think it would be an M2 mixed with the Glitchtrap virus if they're both in Gregory, because I couldn't see the M1 program we know about, and it's moved bodies before. You take M1 out of the mimic endoskeletons and put it into the F10F4 computer. It's still conscious and retains what it wants. So I think it would make no sense for M1 to enter Gregory's body and then just start acting like David, who it thinks is its son. So I think it would be an M2.
Here's the way I'm seeing it, is that M2 is the eclipse aspect, right? That's in Balloon World. It takes over his mind. That's Gregory becoming like David. And then I think Gregory is like David for a while until Glitchtrap gets created and then is in M1, and M2 is the program running in Gregory's head. And then that's why he's talking to himself in the therapy tapes. That's why M2 knows Gregory's voice. But then Glitchtrap, which, like I'm saying, Glitchtrap, I'm thinking Glitchtrap and M1 are together. I don't think M1 has any agency in Glitchtrap at all. I think it's just William using the Mimic program. So I think William then gets a hold of Gregory, and that's when the glitch happens. And then it sets, changes from a set of subroutines to, or it changes from a glitch to a set of subroutines, and the glitch starts spreading throughout the Pizzaplex and everything. I think that's Glitchtrap as M1, which is William taking control, and that's when the shift starts happening and Gregory starts taking on the Dr. Rabbit personality and killing people.
I'm just saying with that explanation though, do you think M2 is in Gregory at all?
Yeah, I don't think anymore, but I think he was.
Well, yeah, I'm not talking about during the game I mean like at one point was M2 in Gregory.
Yeah. And I think that's the eclipse aspect, and that's David when he's talking to himself, and then
then we're good. Then we're good.
Yeah.
An AI program that can take control of human minds, that human can also have an internal dialogue with, and it's the same one already taking over the entire Pizzaplex. It makes the most sense for Gregory to also be taken over by that same entity, rather than having a bunch of different mimic AIs all existing at the same time.
And it wouldn't be a bunch. It would be two, which we already know for a fact exist because both of them are on screen.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so it wouldn't be a bunch of different AIs. It would either be M1 or M2, which we already know exist. So it would be a bunch of hosts for the same two AIs, which is correct.
Mm-hmm. Otherwise, you end up with the same problem that I had with my own Gregbot theory, where it's just so many of one thing, robot kids or AI, and it becomes so complicated that it's just not satisfying anymore. It's Occam's razor. Sometimes the simplest solution is the right solution. It being an AI, M1, wouldn't actually change the fact that Gregory has been mind-controlled in order to make him a new David.
I just think it would make no sense for M1 to be inside of David and then pretend to be David when M1's personality sequence wants David as a child to experience that mother-son relationship with. M1 wouldn't want to go into Gregory because M1 doesn't think it's a little boy.
M1 would want to put M2 into Gregory.
Yes, M1 would want to put M2 into Gregory. So this I do not agree with, Tom, because I think it's, and I'm sure he probably won't watch this. It's forever long. This I would not agree with because I don't think it works at all narratively. Because if it is M1, it wouldn't want to be in this situation and wouldn't possess Gregory in the first place.
M1 wants to get her child back, not become
her child. Yeah. Yes. So in that case, the only option you could go with there is that it is Glitchtrap's own version of M1 that goes into Gregory, which essentially wouldn't be M1 anyway, and would just be an M3.
Yeah,
because M1
not
and
M1
Glitchtrap,
in any meaningful way.
Not M1 in any way that is identifiable as M1.
Yeah,
not F10N4, nothing to do with her. It would be a third instance, a third instance.
Yeah, I think you
AI.
can easily say Glitchtrap is an M3 based off M1 the same way M2 is.
Yeah.
And I just think that the way Glitchtrap is created is through the Mimic 1 program. in some form.
Okay, that works. That works. All right, Chad, are we clear? Are we clear? I am raising up my flag of disagreement with Thomas' theory on this particular point. I don't think that he would want to, be inside of a vessel that is not what she wants to be inside of. I think she would go into a, see, it would make more sense for her to go into Vanessa. And for, like, M2 to go into, but, whatever. All right. So, yeah. Bah humbug, Thomas theory. Bah humbug.
After all, M2 was a copy of M1's programming, and we theorize that M2 was originally being taught on how to be David through Moon.exe, essentially using the memories M1 had of David to help recreate him. It's just doing the same thing in Gregory's head. It would also tie more into Gregory's persona that we create.
Say that again.
Essentially using the memories M1 had of David to help recreate him. It's just doing the same thing in Gregory's head.
He's playing Moon.exe in his brain. See, I don't see why that a step would be necessary if you already have a pre-trained model you could just put in there.
Yeah, and M1 already associates David with M2.
Why would I'm genuinely curious about that. Why would we need? Thank you, Terry.
The only reason I could see that being the case is if M1 has just completely abandoned M2 at this point and is like, all right, I'll try again.
Yeah, I'm just saying if you are a,
I highly doubt.
Well, no, because Gregory's still violent, but that could be because of the glitch trap thing. Yeah, I think it's just weird to have a copy of M2 built off M1 and then just make another copy of M2. Because that's essentially what he's proposing, which, going back to his previous statement, would be adding more AIs. Because now you're adding another instance of the same AI, but it's still 3 different AIs.
Mm-hmm.
It's 1 M1 and 2 M2s. So either way you split it, you're going to have a lot of AIs.
It would also tie more into Gregory's persona that we see in GGY, where he takes on the moniker of Dr. Rabbit, which feels more connected to Glitchtrap than to...
And I concede. Fair point.
M2 specifically. Plus, Gregory is shown to be hacking the animatronics in that story, which again...
He knows how to do that before. He's very technically talented. He builds the software program before he's possessed.
It's not something we necessarily expect of David Murray, but would make sense for someone infected by Glitchtrap who's trying to take...
hacking talent. And also similarities to David.
Is an M2 stuck under the Pizzaplex? Yes, it depends on if that program is exclusively inside of that endoskeleton or if it's accessible from
I think it
elsewhere.
Would be because of Mexus. Like, I think the only program that would be able to do anything is M1 because Mexus is stopping M2. We start Cradle at the end of
so it could have made another copy of itself. I guess that that would work for Tom. I guess if it's just like if the original M2 is only
just the purple guy's son.
But yeah, we don't know what happens after. Yeah,
M1 would want
that
Gregory to get M2 in him.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
So even if
that's why I'm wondering if it's that's why I'm wondering if it is. And then it mimics Gregory specifically. Like, come on. Yeah, that's why I wonder if it is. Why am I trying to say this? I wonder if M2 is a program that is exclusively confined to like an SD card inside of M1, or if you could like open Edward's computer and find the M2 on there. I'm not sure yet. Because clearly there's ways of moving it, because M1 gets moved from the endo into the computer eventually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's with technology infinitely less sophisticated than like a VaniMask chip.
And if M2 is the one that's Eclipse and Balloon World, M2 would be in that arcade game, right?
Yeah, it's an AI. It makes no sense for it to be confined to like a USB. Yeah. And listen. Someone told them about M2. Well, they can't have it. I think that's referring to the program, not his the thing he thinks is his son at that moment in time.
I thought I was talking about the endo.
Yeah, but isn't like at that time, isn't he treating it like his son? Or no?
No.
They found out about M2. I don't know why it worked the first time. No, that would have to be the program, because the endo works the same. It'd have to be the program
yeah,
itself.
But I think he was planning on getting the program working to sell the endo with the program in it.
I think Fazbear Entertainment found out about the M2 program. That's what I think.
Control in order to make their vision a reality. But that's just one part of that theory. The second half focuses on the similarities between David Murray and David Afton. T-Dreads once
Yeah, this half is chopped. I got nothing.
again does his due diligence and not only calls out the same things that I did, but adds a bunch more. Like the fact David Afton's favorite ride is the
No, I mean, I have a lot. I just don't know how it happens.
carousel according to the security logbook, but there isn't a carousel in Fredbear's. There is a carousel, however, in Murray's costume manner, almost as if he's remembering a different child's memories. There's also the line, "Do you miss them?" in the logbook, right next to a picture of Foxy writing a note. And in Moon.exe, there is a note asking the moon to bring back the sun because he misses them. Again, it makes it hard to deny there's a connection here. The challenge becomes the how of it all. Even T-Dreads admits that this part is a bit of a stretch because we just don't have enough evidence yet. But he presents the idea that psychic friend Fredbear actually contains a version of the M2 David AI, which William uses to swap the mind of his son with David Murray. We see the mycelium men who contain mimic technology have the same black eyes with white.
This sounds chopped, but you know, I wouldn't put it past him. I could see it.
No, I think it's totally within character. I think William does not care a single one about his children. And I think he saw the opportunity to revive somebody through AI technology and was like, let me figure out how to do that so I can do that for myself, which then leads into Glitch Trap.
Yeah. And this thing is clearly malicious looking in the logbook.
Dots. Glitch Trap resides in a spring.
And also, it would be a parallel because the other M1 would be in the Spring Bonnie plush and M2 to be in the Fredbear plush. That's what we call a visual parallel, chat. It's actually, that's even a narrative parallel. And then with a P.
And then with F10 being
I guess he's
Afton.
right about that.
But I just love those comments on the video. Like, I had so many comments that were like, okay, so you think the Mimic program is hiding out in a plushie? Like, brother. Yeah, it is. It's right there. But I couldn't do it twice. Like you really, T-Dreads, you're saying the Mimic is stored in a plushie at one of the Fredbear's? Oh no!
You're saying the Mimic is stored in a plushie at least 10 years prior to this, and now we have to expect that it could possibly happen again.
How am I supposed to believe, T-Dreads? T-Dreads, how am I supposed to believe that the Mimic could possibly be hiding out in a children's plushie this whole time? Oh my god! It's hiding out in a children's plushie. Like, bro.
Body plush in order to swap minds with Vanessa, and this particular story structure is repeated all over the books, like
Truth
the
Nuke.
week before, Into the Pit, Gumdrop Angel, The Monty Within, but most prominently for this theory in a story called Lonely Freddy. A small Freddy asks a child questions to learn more about them in order to assume their identity, eventually swapping bodies with them. Ironically, this is almost identical to a theory we had many years ago. It's just now we understand why. M1 Fiona needs an animatronic genius like Edwin, and now, like Afton,
It's a digital plushie. That's a good point, but now we have to ask if the fucking Fredbear plushie is even entirely fucking real because it's teleporting into flowers. So
FNAF World is a digital plush.
Yeah, FNAF World's digital Glitch Bear as well. Yeah, but yeah, now we have to like I get the virtual thing makes sense, but I don't know if the Fredbear plush entirely obeys the laws of reality anyway because it's teleporting into flowers.
I mean, if he has the Mimic program in his head, the Fredbear plush could be the digital version of the thing he's seeing.
The only problem is we know it's real because it's in the office of sister location. That's the only problem.
But we know that one is real. We don't know that's the same one.
Yes.
Right. That he was.
I would.
That was following.
I would
around.
expect it is the same one, but it could.
I mean, I always assumed that the one in the office was like separate from the one he had. Because it has the walkie-talkie on it. Like, he talks into one, it comes out the other.
to be able to rebuild her son. Afton is intrigued by these machines that feel alive, and so is willing to go along and plan so that he can study it. All of that makes so much sense, and again, lines up with the same motivations I presented. The main challenge.
Which, all right, chat, guess what? I can double down. T-Dreads, the mimic AI can't be in a plushie. Okay, what are the mycelium men, chat? Is that not the mimic AI inside of a plushie?
You're my only friend.
Got him. We got him. High five, Fazbear. we were on the ropes and we came back. We were
Also,
on the ropes.
That's the reason people think that the mimic learned about Fiona is through the mycelium men. So
clearly it has plot relevance. Yeah. We were on the ropes, Fazbear. We brought it back.
I had with it was the timer. In our original theory, and also in T-Dread's theory, it presents the questions that psychic friend Fredbear / the Lonely Freddy is asking are so it can learn stuff about David in order to steal his body and become David Murray once again. Except by the time we see him in the FNAF 4 minigames, he's already exhibiting signs that he is David Murray. He's wearing the same clothes, carrying the plushie around, he's scared of Foxy, has the same name. I suppose you could argue that these things are just things William conditioned him to do in order to make him susceptible to the mind transfer. But then, when does he take over?
Chat,
Is it
David Murray is like 5 years old. Let's relax.
What happens to him after that? Why does he disappear from the story? And if it's before that moment, then it means Fredbear wouldn't have any need to ask those questions or be the M2 AI because he's already taken over David Afton's mind. Now, all of that being said, I do recognize that there's definitely evidence for the crying child being more like a human child than—
He looks so tired. He's got the what do they call it? Those eye bags like some fucking anime characters have. They're like, I'm the emo character.
A robot one like I presented originally. After all, the key evidence that T-Dreads refers to, the security logbook, has two spirits talking to one another, the vengeful spirit Cassidy and the spirit of David. If the Fredbear plush was the M2 David Murray program, then David Afton's spirit would be present and able to attach itself to Fredbear in order to take control and then talk to Cassidy. Plus, in the logbook, we see David struggling with his memories, hence all the questions about favorite toys, rides, and even his name. Cassidy is trying to help him remember, maybe because his own memories have been suppressed for so long by M2, much like with Gregory and the therapy CDs, although we don't ever get the last name from that spirit. So I suppose there is a chance that this is really David Murray's spirit trying to remember itself.
I think it might be talking to— that'd be tough because it'd be weird to combine them in spirit. I could see it because I could see in that scene, let's say Cassidy is accessing a variety of memories. Cassidy is somehow accessing memories from both Dave Afton and Dave Murray.
Yeah,
but I don't know how that would be unless there's three. All their spirits are there. It's so strange.
That'd be an interesting thing.
Logbook trio.
Logbook trio's cursed. Unless Cassidy is the bite victim talking to David, who is the David. That would be cursed. All right.
Years of wandering. Kind of like we see happen to Jake in the Stitch Wraith stories. I mean, Cassidy is calling out his favorite ride is the carousel, which, as T-Dreads points out, the crying child, David, wouldn't have ever witnessed. But we know that David Murray did. And all of this can be happening while M2 is walking around dressed like David Murray, now under the watchful eye of William Afton. And see, this is why I did the branching paths in that original theory to begin with, because it's important to explore all of
So I do think he still thinks that the crying child is literally M2 the robot with skin put on him, but I think he agrees that Gregory is just a actual human kid with chip in your head.
That almost seems counterintuitive. You'd think that it would Gregory would be the
robot kid because of the advance in technology, and that crying child would be the chip in your head nonsense.
I think people just don't want the crying child to not be himself.
Yeah. He's such a great character. He's so characterized. He's sad.
I think it makes him more tragic. It makes him more of a victim because
of a bite victim.
The victim who got bit.
Mm-hmm. All right, Chad. In terms of GT Live, they did their newest one recently. I don't think there's anything too major they covered that Tom didn't, but I'll go peruse through.
I'm being like, yeah, he really did try to express the plot in clues and not here's the story and here's what I want these characters to have aspect-wise. Like, this character is
this one's good. Designer for MCM.
Yeah. Yes. Okay. Yeah.
So all these, I'll start with the puppet show one.
Of arts and crafts and help wanted too. Fiona was the artist and graphic designer for MCM.
Yeah. Yes. Okay. Yeah. 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 Keep going.
Asks Gregory.
Don't you want a puppet show?
And Fiona.
Yeah. Get truth nuked, Ash. Truth nuked.
Oh yeah.
A warehouse minigame where you are literally programming memories into an endoskeleton to teach it how to be a convincing human child.
Where is my ball?
Yeah, see, I didn't even have to say
Where
it.
is my ball?
There we go.
Oh my God. Literally, like, let me teach you David lore. Let me teach you David lore.
That's literally what it is, yeah. I think that is the point of the board. That's why Sun pops up and is like, yeah.
Right?
Yeah, the puppet show thing is cool because I remember Tom and I just losing our stomach when we saw the puppet show with Foxy and that. I love this. Security Breach has such a fun synergy with Secret of the Mimic in a way that is so rewarding after so.
The logbook using the same language. Anyways, now I gotta go to the survival logbook because there's actually even more stuff.
Okay. Yes. Okay. We're going to the survival logbook. So if you go and watch this video, which I highly recommend you do so, and give T-Dreads your view as well, a very lovely point.
I also highly recommend you give me your views and press the like button down below.
Withered tree about parallels.
I'm so sad that we didn't get to see the unwithered tree. The good evening.
Dude, that's the best part.
You know what I bet the real reason was? I think they didn't want to show the 30 seconds of Star Wars footage in fear of copyright infringement.
Or not. This is something to help you build more understanding about a character or actually cool connection points from a storytelling perspective to advance the plot, right?
So
it's a big.
Well, it was a necessary evil. People are stupid sometimes.
Yeah.
Spells obviously are a big point of contention within the FNAF community, and I think that this section was handled very, very well. For the sake of going into the theory itself.
Dude, all my comments were saying it was pretentious, but I think they're low key just like racist towards British accents because the way Unwithered was saying it. Like, I don't think it would have been pretentious if, like, just someone said it, like, yeah, this and, you know. But he had to hit him with that, good evening.
Good evening.
It was so good.
Though, we're probably going to hop over it for time and just making sure that we can get as much in this episode as we can for you. So go check that out, but we're picking back up here with the security logbook.
The crying child actually gets some relevant dialogue of his own here. Through faded and altered text, we make out a conversation that gives us even more ties to David Murray, and later even to Gregory. Faded text asks Cece if his favorite toy was a plastic purple phone. This is a toy that we know were around for both David Murray and David Afton. When you put this phone into moon.exe,
Yikes, zombie soap.
the item. I kid you not, a crying child picks up on the other end.
Yeah, that's really on the nose, too. Like, a child cries on the other end of this plastic purple phone from FNAF 4. It's like,
Also, the ... is very much like the when he's locked in the back room, he's like, let me out, please.
Yeah, we finished Tom's video. Excuse me. We finished Tom's video. Yeah, but yeah, I ended up partially agreeing with Fiona on one point, but I already forgot which one it was. Oh, what do I think the Fiona wires of Doom are? Wouldn't you like to know, Gibby?
I think Fate Fiona can give a reason for God David, because people's biggest issue with God David is like, why would William do that if Fiona is influencing William into doing that? You know what I mean?
Well, touche parallels again. Tell me why.
His appearance, struggling to remember their own name. Doesn't that sound familiar?
I'm Gregory.
He doesn't remember because he's been playing with He's David for the last 5 months. God David. Because
God David.
Okay. Yeah. This is good. Now we're getting the song.
I think you can read that as him not remembering his name, because it's like, who am I? What the fuck? But I understand how people read it as him like lying to, or like it being a trust issue. But I think you can read it either way.
Sauce. This is the secret sauce, right? Punch. That's what the text proves. He is possessing M2. Tricking these people, or is there actually possession of the mimic virus? Like, is that a thing? Can we do that? Is that true? So, good.
Side note on the topic of puzzle design, if all this is true, and the thing that he...
I'm not going to play this part because this is me talking about this. That's my bad habit where I say this is good for the story, therefore it's true. Scott might just suck at writing, so it could be.
And telling the...
Although Secret of the Mimic is pretty well written.
therapist he was David, and saying
This guy is bad at writing. I think he's bad at conveying.
Piper droid.
Yeah.
Hey, man.
Of what later becomes of David Murray's room.
That's weird too. Just the weird thing with the moon EX.
Yeah, there's not much to watch here. Basically, the whole video is me just hammering a nail really hard.
Yeah, then my video is doing that again.
Yeah. With more, you're just hammering the nail even deeper in.
Yeah,
you're like hitting into the wood.
New nail and I hammer on top of the.
You
other
got
nail.
like a little like a sickle and a hammer, and you're hitting the nail further into the wood.
Yeah.
Excuse me. All right.
This the purple guy's son.
I will say a good point for Tom's theory though, because I'm not completely going to be mean. If he is stealing from the fourth closet structure, Afton does literally steal the Charlie bot in that, like physically, so he might literally steal M2 as well.
Yeah.
And then it becomes his child. The Charlie bot becomes his child if he steals it. So, Tom, I understand.
Wouldn't that kind of be M2 as Fredbear, though? Because then Fredbear kills his child, the Charlie bot kills Elizabeth.
Bro, that's literally Gibby's parody theory was M2 Fredbear. Let's not be doing this. That wasn't Gibby's parody. Someone's coughing. Bless up in the background.
Oh, yeah, sorry, man. Roommate's coughing.
Okay. Parallels. Well, touche. All right. Well, I think, chat, I'm glad we had this talk because that was a much better response than today. Like the hype stream this morning, which was still fun. But I wanted to make sure to do a response that was actually like intellectually stimulating because people in chat were complaining a little bit. So thank you, Fazbear Entertainment, for joining me on this fine day.
Yes.
I guess we are probably going to take off now because I don't have much more to add to Thomas
and we can
and
talk
Ash
about
theory.
The secret thing.
Oh, we could talk about the secret of Big B. That's true.
Yeah.
All right,
Barry
chat.
Benson.
I'll be seeing you later. It was a nice day, and I hope you all have a lovely day and you all prosper greatly and make millions and billions of dollars.
Okay, I'm gonna end it right there because oh wow, I was 1 second off from it before it became the exact time on the thing. That is actually really hilarious to me. But yeah, I have to say this is an interesting one because we get some more details and there's some parts that apparently he's really thinking about. Like, he's heavily thinking about some of the information that he gathered from the God David theory on game theory. And that honestly says something, in all honesty. On what, I can't say for sure. That would require some massive assuming. But, yeah. Anyway, though, it seems like he did really gather information. Because there were some long pauses where he went mute and was talking, and apparently someone got his idea down, but it wasn't really, I didn't really pay attention to the chat, so I don't know for sure what someone said that was apparently true. So, yeah. I mean, I could look back, but then I would have to assume where it started. And there's no telling on the how far back it would be. So I'm not really going to try to assume something like that, because that just feels like it would just be one big headache to really think about. But yeah, it's also a really cool thing to get a recap on the God David theory. And yeah, rethinking it, it does. This does sound very complicated. From what we could tell, Gregory was 100%, with all the evidence given, really connected to David Murray. So we don't know how the connection goes to David Afton for sure. I mean, sure, we got some theories said here and there, but nothing that really solidifies anything. I can't really say I'm fully on board unless there's hard nailing evidence. Because you know what they say about assumptions, and just relying on the assumption doesn't really feel right if it doesn't have anything solid to say, yeah, this is true. So, yeah, I'm going to hold off on that part. But either way, it's still an interesting thing to go over again. It leaves a ton of thoughts to really consider, and somehow it probably does have something to do with a different mimic program in Gregory, because it just doesn't feel right to say M1 is in Gregory, because M1 is basically Fiona, and she wants to have this mother-child relationship that the original Fiona had. And what they were programmed to really crave and all that. It just doesn't make sense. It's a huge contradiction, and it just doesn't really fit anywhere. But do I think M2 is involved? It's hard to say, really. It's more of a 50-50. If William made his own mimic program and it got adapted and enabled to the point that it got into some crazy stuff, then yeah, it would make sense. That, or he just made like a chip that's not connected to the main mimic program he made, and more of like a small implant that takes a small portion of the main program, where the program can actually communicate with that small implant. Think of it more like think of it like a I'm trying to come up with an analogy, but I have an idea, I guess, but I don't know if it'll work. But hopefully this explanation does. Think of it as a let's use a YouTube explanation. You know how there's full YouTube videos and all that, and then some people make shorts about the video they made, like 1, 2, or 3 of them, but they're still connected to the main video, leaving links and all that to go back towards it. I'm thinking it's more like that. These implants are like that kind of thing, but in a more complicated manner, which allows William, or this mimic program that's mimicking William, to see into the eyes of the one he's possessing and doing whatever the heck he wants to do. At least that's what I'm thinking in this case scenario. A more advanced program compared to M1 and M2. Finding a way to branch itself out to other people. So yeah, that's my theory at the very least. But other than that, not much else to really say. So with this said, I hope you all enjoyed this video. Like, comment, subscribe if you enjoyed this video. Hit the notification button, be notified immediately when your video comes out. Be sure to give D-Dread some love and support for the video that they made that I'm reacting to. And other than that, I'll be sure to see you on the next video. Bye.